So, given that it's probably going to happen in 2024, I, Simon Mello, thought we would rank the 10 most likely people to defeat Gunther and end his Intercontinental title reign. Now, if you put a gun to my head right now, I will predict this shall happen at WrestleMania 40, but who's it going to be? Let's go. So we click my fingers, and my ranking should hopefully appear on the screen. Depends how much editing I want to put in this video. I'm kidding. Of course we will. And we shall start with someone I'm very excited about, because no one else is having this conversation, the Honky Tonk Man. Now, of course, it was the Honky Tonk Man who got his record shattered by Gunther, and as always, when we do bring the Honky Tonk Man into the conversation, we do have to remember that the Honky Tonk Man decided, well, if I want to be super successful in professional wrestling, I should pretend to be Elvis. Good work, Tonk. That's a really great idea. But there is a story right there, despite the fact the Honky Tonk Man is probably around about 73, 74 years old. At the very push, maybe he's in his late 60s. But even with that said, bam, there we go. I'm putting him at number 10, which means I think out of all the professional wrestlers walking the planet today, the Honky Tonk Man has the deathbed chance of defeating Gunther and getting revenge that the Ring General, like I say, beat his record. Now, this is dumb, so we're just going to move on, but I stand by it. So instead, we'll move on to someone that I think is far more likely, and really, he's kind of fallen into this role given some of the crazy things that have happened recently. It's flipping Bron Breakker. Now, I am recording this before NXT Vengeance Day, just in case you see this after NXT Vengeance Day, and I'm kind of in two worlds, because I think the tag team of Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin is wonderful. Obviously, they're going to be taking on Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. That's a great pairing as well. So it does kind of feel like we have more plans in NXT for Bron Breakker, but at the same time, he did appear at the Royal Rumble. He did a great job. He seems to be coming after the Judgment Day. I think this is the dude that we should do it with. I think he should go to the Australian pay-per-view premium live event, the Elimination Chamber, absolutely destroy Dominic Mysterio, then come back and say, hey, Gunther, I want to whoop your ass and I want to take your championship. Because at the moment, if you really wanted to go all in, you can make him the world champion. That sounds crazy, but look, if you want to create a star, let's create a star. But the best thing that has happened ever since Triple H has taken over is that he's looked at the quote-unquote mid-card titles and he has restored prestige to them. Now, you double up with the fact that Gunther has been the champion for 7,946 days and feels like he is unbeatable. Bron Breakker comes in, he gets over obviously with the people that know him from NXT. He then gets over with the audience that doesn't watch NXT and only watches Raw and SmackDown. He then beats Gunther, probably with an amazing spear in an incredibly hard-hitting match, and then you do the same thing that you did with Gunther for Bron Breakker, and you just establish him. And honestly, by the time we get to WrestleMania 42, maybe WrestleMania 43, he should be at the tippity top of the card. That's why Bron Breakker is going into number 2, which begs the question, who is at number 1? But we don't jump on this kind of opportunity enough, and I understand why, because you really have to believe in someone, but I have never seen Bron Breakker drop the ball. He's got those Steiner genes. He's just naturally gifted at this, and have you seen the comedic chops he's now introduced ever since he has started his tag team with Baron? They jump off each other so well. Man, I'm so excited about Mr. Breaks. I think he's gonna be fantastic. So to continue to shake things up, we'll now go for an out of left field pick, because you could do this. Solo Sikoa. Now, poor Solo had to delete his social media the other day because people found tweets that he'd done about mathematics. I thought that was very, very amusing. And people are now going, why does he turn up to these matches with a hood on? We all know who it is. So this ain't great for someone like Solo Sikoa, who's meant to be a badass. Doesn't need a massive rehab job. I'm exaggerating. But if you do want to get that message back out there that he is a killer, why can't he jump across the Raw and become the Intercontinental Champion? It could even maybe potentially tie into the end of the bloodline. Because if Roman Reigns does lose his championship at WrestleMania 30, he's like, oh, I'm so sad. I got no friends. I haven't got any gold anymore. Whereas Solo is like, well, I ain't feeling too bad because I just won my first major WWE singles title. I mean, that's a story we've done. It's as old as time itself. And it's a little bit weird, I suppose. I'm not 100% sure how Gunther versus Solo Sikoa works. When I was coming up with names, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. And look, I still think Solo has a massive upside. We've just got to the point now where he does need to separate himself from the bloodline. It needs to be his own man, and he needs to be cutting some fire promos. And also, don't get him to do any equations because he won't like it. But I am going to put him in at number 8. Like I say, super outside chance, but you never know. And given that his name has come up once, let's make sure we bring it up again. Although actually, I'm going to be a bit of a copy and paste job here, so you will have to forgive me. Trick Williams. The word going around the crazy internet rumor mill at the moment is that when he did pop up on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, WWE officials are like, wait a minute, Trick Williams got a mega pop. Maybe we need to do something here. Now again, he's taken on Ilya Dragunov at the pay-per-view in a couple of days, premium live event. He could easily win the NXT championship in order to craft him into a star. But basically, you need to take everything I just said about Bron Breakker and apply it to Trick Williams, depending on what plans you have in place. Call Trick up. He amazingly already is getting a response, like I say, from the Raw and SmackDown crowd. crowd. If he is the dude to defeat Gunther, man, I tell you. And maybe Trick Williams has an edge over Bron Breakker in the sense the way their characters are portrayed. Because Bron Breakker obviously is like a super badass, and he kind of toes that line between heel and face, as we have seen. I've no doubt that Trick Williams can't play the heel, but as a babyface, my word, he just works. And he's such a WWE guy, and I mean that as a positive, not a negative. He has so many boxes that he is able to tick. I get excited about seeing what he could do. So again, we're only a couple of months out of WrestleMania. Imagine he won the Intercontinental Champion and he beat Gunther, and you just know in that dynamic, Gunther is gonna kick the absolute shit out of it. So when Trick Williams does come back and has this massive comeback and gets the 1, 2, 3, I tell you, it would be wonderful. Now, with that said, I'm still sticking it at number 6 because I don't think it's something that is probably going to happen, more something I just want to happen. And actually, this is when I break my whole system, because do you know who probably does have more chance, but is going to go into a weird position? Sheamus. Now, I kind of feel like he's going to come back after WrestleMania because I don't know what his injury status is, but he has been hurt. If he was ready to go at the Royal Rumble, that would have been a great time. And at the moment, I'm not sure where you insert him into the WrestleMania card unless you have decided that he is the guy to defeat Gunther. Now, of course, it ties into a storyline we were doing in 2022 and then continued on in 2023. But as the Irish Curse has told us over and over again, the last belt he needs to be a Super Mega Grand Slam champion is the Intercontinental Championship. Now, what is working against Sheamus is the fact he's 42, he's 43. Not that I think we should get worried about age. If you can go, you can go. Who the flub cares? But Gunther has such an aura about him, much like a Roman Reigns does, and a Rhea Ripley, and so on and so forth. If you take a young guy and they defeat Gunther, well, you're going to get more years out of it. It's just as simple as that. But on the other end, if wrestling is all about moments and making you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum, then Sheamus is probably the guy. But I'm not convinced. I think I've kind of talked myself into this one because I'm a fan of Sheamus, and I think he's going to be a wrestler that we appreciate more once he has retired. Like, I've missed him from TV. Don't think we've seen him since the Edge match, which is like October, something like that. Either way, he is going in at number 7. We wait and see. And the best answer that I'll give you today is nobody. That's right. No, nobody should beat Gunther because he's too good. Number 9. Now, we actually continue on with this NXT contingent at the moment because why couldn't Ilya Dragunov come up and defeat Gunther? Now, there is something to this, because if you have ever seen the feud that they have had, especially in NXT UK, oh my gosh, these two may have the best chemistry in the world, mostly because Gunther is happy to kill Ilya, and Ilya is happy to be killed by Gunther. If you have some time today or any point in the next couple of days, make sure you check it out. I'm sure it's on Peacock or the WWE Network. You will not believe how hard-hitting and how gruesome it is at some points. So it stands to reason. It's a Trick Williams situation. It's a Bron Breakker situation. Again, with the added extra that maybe nobody is able to elicit sympathy as well as Dragunov, because again, you're like, wait a minute, is he actually being murdered here? And why is nobody helping? I think it really does depend on whether he holds on to the NXT Championship or not, and he will struggle maybe more than the other two just because he doesn't have something that WWE likes. Now, I actually think Triple H is more open to people like this, so I think it will be okay, but that's why I've whacked him in at number 5, which is interesting. I've ranked him below Trick Williams. I would change that, but I've done it now. Can't shift the things I have written down. Although I guess the way I will justify it is that if Ilya loses his championship on Sunday and Trick wins it, you want Trick to have a little bit of a run. That's why Carmelo Hayes is not on this list. That would be great too, but I think he will feud with Trick. And then maybe Dragunov can get called up and maybe he can be the guy. And then look, Bron Breakker was apparently going off to Judgment Day. Maybe that's the WrestleMania match against a Finn Balor or even a Damian Priest. That would be quite a good victory, although they're meant to be in the tag team scene. Who the hell knows? The point is this. Ilya goes in at number 5. You never know. We don't get into things that are basically based on what I want from my own heart. Imagine if R-Truth beat Gunther. Now, this one is a little bit silly, I get it. But right now, go and look at who sells the most merchandise in WWE. The answer is CM Punk, the answer is Cody Rhodes. But do you know who is always creeping and sneaking around, and who for a while in January was the top selling merchandise seller in WWE? It's R-Truth. Everybody loves him. He's really funny. You have to imagine he is slowly going towards the end of his career, even though he hasn't aged a day. Why can't we just give him something that would be the most wonderful thing in the world? No, you're not planning for the future. No, it would probably be 2 + 2 = potato, and it wouldn't make any sense. Would go absolutely nuts. And if I'm going to WrestleMania and I want to get that feeling in my Tootsie Toes, R-Truth beating Gunther, which you just know would be courtesy of the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, after he's been chopped to death, I don't think I'll ever cheer as much as my life. So sometimes we have to try and manifest these things. R-Truth going in at number 4. Now I'm going to keep everything crossed for at least 2 months. And we'll go straight into number 3. I'll just spoil it for you right away. It's Chad Gable. Now, 6 months or so ago, it looked dead set that this is what we were going to do. But since then, Chad hasn't had many matches. He's not talking about the Intercontinental Championship. But WWE always has that line that he did drop when he was feuding with Gunther, which is, I'm going to reset, I'm going to rehab myself, I'm going to climb my way back up to the top, and I'm doing it for my child. Now, when a babyface says that, they really have to follow it through. And let's not pretend those Gunther-Chad Gable matches weren't amazing. And look, you can do more with Chad Gable. Maybe you need to get rid of the comedy a little bit. I'm saying that, and I love wrestling comedy, goofy wrestling for life, more than anyone. But if you do shift away from that, and again, you allow him to have this power that Gunther is going to pass across to somebody else, you will have this amazing wrestler that you can do loads with in 2024. I suppose the benefit of Gable winning it is that you don't have to have another super long title reign, because he's just not that type of character. It's not that type of gimmick. He could hold it for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe even 12 weeks and lose it. And I don't think people would be too annoyed. Whereas maybe if you did it with the Bron Breakker, he has to hold it a bit longer just so you tell everyone, look, everything is going to be okay. But still, I'm putting Chad Gable at number 3. The story is there. The narrative is there. We have hinted at it a lot. And if we did want to go back to it, we still do have a couple of months. I still think this would be wonderful as well. That man deserves more. And you probably worked it out as we do get to our last one. There's only one space left. It is the number 1 slot. And I think probably Bron Breakker is more likely to. But I've taken likeliness and my wants, and I folded them into one. Give it to damn Jey Uso. I was convinced that we were going to do Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania 40, and I'm 95% convinced that we will do that. But the showing in the Royal Rumble seemed to take me so far away from expecting that, which may have been a red herring to get me to think that way. I was like, you know what? Jey Uso has kind of got himself involved in the New Day Imperium thing. Why can't he be the guy to dethrone Gunther? Especially because right now, he's kind of treading water. But as we have seen, he's another megastar on the rise. He's the person that benefited most from the bloodline. If we bring in those damn merch sales again, he's always in the top 10. Yeet. I just think Jey is so damn cool, if nothing else. That's always what I think when I see him. Like, oh, you're so cool. Like I'm his little mate. That if he was the person to defeat Gunther for that Intercontinental title run and then go on a massive reign of his own, I really do think that now we have 2 world championships, Jey Uso could be a future world champion. Not in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd say that, especially 4 or 5 years ago, but he proved himself in 2023. So if you want to coronate him, I don't think that would be an issue at all. And I genuinely think out of all these 10, it would be my favorite one, which sounds nuts. I know, and I'm sure you can argue it. Please do in the comments and subscribe and hit the notification bell and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to throw Jey Uso out there. I think Jey Uso versus Gunther at WrestleMania 40 is a really interesting match. I still would be gutted that it wasn't Jimmy versus Jey because there's stuff to be told there. But I'm just going with what I saw on the TV. WWE didn't seem to care. So why should I? Now look, massively, make sure you get in those comments and debate everything that I've talked about here and throw in some other names that I may have totally forgotten. And also click that video that's on the screen right now. We're talking about some other wrestling junk, probably the Royal Rumble. We can get into it. Also, it's grillamine.com/Simon, and you can use the code Simon to get 10% off. Again, I always tell you, fitness supplements that I use. Patreon.com/Simon316 to support me that way. Just come give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter. That'd be cool. Simon316. I'm on Cameo at Simon Miller. If you would like some sort of Valentine's Day shout out, I can do that. TikTok is Simon J. Miller. Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics for Simon Miller merchandise, which is a crazy thing. Why the hell I have that, I do not know. But yes, there we go. I've thrown it into the ether now, and we can come back in a couple of months' time and say, Simon, you're really smart, or the usual, Simon, you're really dumb, which is definitely accurate, but I'm all right with it. Goodbye.